Until the latest of our world conflicts, the United States had no armaments industry. American makers of plowshares could, with time and as required, make swords as well. But we can no longer risk emergency improvisation of national defense. We have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions. Added to this, 3.5 million men and women are directly engaged in the defense establishment. We annually spend on military security alone more than the net income of all United States corporations. Now, this conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new in the American experience. The total influence, economic, political, even spiritual, is felt in every city, every state house, every office of the federal government. We recognize the imperative need for this development, yet we must not fail to comprehend its grave implications. Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes.
Now voy a guardar eso.
Lasers sound like the stuff of science fiction, right? Sound completely unbelievable. How could our military possibly be using those in future warfare? Guess what? We've just had a recent breakthrough, more great test results that are making lasers a reality. So it's called Athena. Lockheed Martin makes it, and they've been doing a lot of the pioneering in this laser field. Now, what's really exciting about it is that it's so hard to harness that much power and make it compact enough that it's actually going to make practical sense downrange. And they've proven that they can do that. Recently, they tested it against 5 moving drones, so realistic drones that they might go up against with, enemy forces might send against us, for example, or terrorists might send against us. And it successfully shot down all 5 of the drones. This is huge news because it means that in a realistic, practical setting, it's looking very promising. So it could be ready to field quite soon. So when you see the movies or you look at comic books or television shows, when you see laser weapons, they tend to be a color, right? Red or green or something like that. Real lasers, one of the key advantages that they provide is that they are invisible. You actually can't see them. You just see this damage suddenly starting to blow something up. So if we take a look now at what the Athena did to a truck. So we're looking at a truck engine, and the Athena within seconds was able to beam right in there, heat the whole thing up, and burn through the engine of this vehicle. So if you can imagine if you were in that vehicle, all of a sudden, this hole would start appearing in your engine, and the whole thing would just disappear. That's what these lasers do. Now, there's some other key advantages that we should mention. Let me give you 3 of them. 1, unlimited ammo. As long as we have power, we have an unlimited magazine. And downrange, of course, having unlimited ammo can be a huge advantage. Second, it's silent. You don't give the enemy any advance warning that it's coming. And then the third one I wanted to touch on is that it travels at the speed of light. So not only are we delivering powerful, decisive effects, lethality, we're also doing it so rapidly they don't know what hit them. So if you could circle back to that example of being in the car again, that would happen so instantaneously, within seconds, you truly would have no idea what was happening. It would just suddenly start disintegrating, right? So what can we use these against? So we talked about the vehicle a bit. We talked about how Athena has just proven itself against drones. But in the real world application, our forces could use it against the drones. We could use it against aircraft. We could use it against vehicles on the ground, like we mentioned. We could also use it against fast attack boats. And in fact, Athena's sibling, Adam, a couple years ago proved that it could eliminate these fast attack boats. So if you imagine boats start trying to swarm one of our ships, not a problem for this laser. Burns right through the hull. As you can see right there, it's burning right through the hull. I'm incredibly excited about this news, this great news about the successful testing of Athena, because it means that we'll be putting these powerful weapons soon. We could put them in the hands of our warfighters and give them even more powerful weaponry to keep themselves safe and also to deliver the effects that we need. They can be used, laser weapons can be used offensively and of course defensively too, to help protect our homeland. Think of our airports that might be under threat from enemy drones. They could be used to protect we could use them statically and used to protect our airports. They could be used to protect our power grid, our nuclear plants. So there's lots of different exciting applications for this technology. There's no longer science fiction, but science fact.
So the recent California fires are very strange and suspect, to say the least. We have specific areas being burned, like energy was being directed at certain things. In drone footage of the aftermath, we see houses completely obliterated and turned to ash while the surrounding landscapes and trees are totally fine. Here is a clip courtesy of Serbian Conspiracy. I'll put a link in the description. You'll notice here that stores and restaurants are wiped out while other things are still in perfect shape. Other buildings are fine, trees are untouched, but specific structures are just devastated. You gotta ask yourself, what's up with that? How did the fires get to these certain buildings but the surrounding areas, including the parking lot, look normal? Is this the result of direct energy weapons? Ranged weapons that inflict damage on a target by emitting highly focused energy? The answer is most likely yes, but most people believe that these kind of weapons are just science fiction, due to movies like Austin Powers, for instance.
Speak softly, but carry a big stick. These are the words of President Roosevelt that have guided many world nations' diplomacy. But with Hezbollah to the north and Hamas to the south, Israel is swapping out the stick for something a little bit more high-tech. And it'll completely change the face of war as we know it. Now, lasers have long since captivated the imagination of futurists and sci-fi writers worldwide. But thanks to new Israeli technology 10 years in the making, high-energy laser beams capable of intercepting rockets and missiles are now making their debut in the field. Defense Minister Naftali Bennett says that the laser sword makes Israel's security apparatus more lethal, more powerful, and more advanced than ever before. Previous attempts to create such lasers have all apparently failed to produce good results, but this breakthrough defense combines multiple long-range lasers into one strong beam, and it can be focused on long-range targets while overcoming clouds, dust storms, and other disturbances. Finally, best of all, officials explained that while missile interceptors, like even the Iron Dome, can run out, this system is never ending as long as you have electricity.
That's crazy!
In today's theater of operations, there is a constant rise in threats against the U.S. and allied military assets and personnel. The need to counter weapons such as ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and hypersonic technologies with directed energy applications is urgent. Our military needs the capability to generate high energy levels of electric power quickly that can both power and cool directed energy weapons systems. Honeywell's leading-edge systems provide high power, thermal management, and energy storage. We have decades of proven experience on both military and commercial platforms across all domains: sea, air, land, and space. Our industry-leading power generation systems range from the single kilowatt to a 1 megawatt. The high power capabilities of our unique products and small form factors are ideal for directed energy applications. We've carefully crafted our technology to operate with minimal recharge times and deep magazines to defeat swarming UAVs and larger threats that require higher power on target. Using our proprietary warfighter mission modeling and simulation tools, we work with our customers to define architectures, identify system trades, and customize solutions for cost, size, weight, and power requirements. Our warfighters require highly accurate pointing and stabilization systems to effectively aim and defeat, and they are employed in over 90% of U.S. military platforms today. As warfare continues to evolve, so do we. Honeywell is committed to equip our military with the tools they need to respond to threats, both present and future.
A haunting but mesmerizing scene from the wildfires in Sonoma County. A man came across this tree burning from the inside out. Matthew McDermott was driving around looking for escape routes as multiple fires closed in on the area he was in. The tree appears to be hollowed out by embers and flames.
UK Dragonfire is an MOD and DSTL and UK industry program to demonstrate the capability of a laser-directed energy weapon system for the self-protection of land, maritime and air platforms. It's funded by innovation funding and is at the leading edge, not just of technology, but in demonstrating the end-to-end capability and inform the UK's future procurement decisions in this area.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is a late broadcast tonight. Let me give it just a second here. Good evening, folks. Okay. Just want to make sure can you guys hear me okay? You guys hear me okay? Finally, my brethren, rejoice in the Lord, to write the same things to you. To me indeed is not grievous, but for you it is safe. Though I might have confidence in the flesh, if any other man thinketh that he whereof might trust in the flesh, I am more. Look, folks, California is under attack, folks. We've got to be strong, and we've got to be courageous. We've got to be aware of what these people are up to. There are all these fires burning. Okay, we got good audio. You can hear the crickets. Okay. Folks, this is the calm before the storm in California. This is a very, very, very important topic I'm about to discuss because it applies to everybody. There have been technologies that have been being developed for years, folks. When I was at UCI, I had a general chemistry class my sophomore year, and the teacher, his name was Professor Renzepis, Mr. Renzepis. And he taught chemistry, but his specialty was lasers, ladies and gentlemen. And this was in the fall of 1985 when I was in college. And one of the properties of these lasers that he was developing back then was its ability to triangulate and reflect off of fixed objects. There's no doubt that these fires are being intentionally set. I don't know whether these fires are being set by directed energy weapons, whether they're being set by the ignition of smart meters, whether they're being set by the electrification of the guardrails. You know, there's all this cable running through these guardrails, folks. You know, there's so many different ways they could start these fires. There could be some crazy person just driving around throwing matches out the window. That's probably not likely. But I will tell you what the true agenda is behind these fires. And I touched on it briefly this afternoon. And that is, beside the global warming aspect, beside the carbon dioxide issue that they're trying to raise, they say that the carbon dioxide is causing the drought, folks. They say that the carbon dioxide emissions, the CO2 emissions, are so high that it's affecting the weather. It's causing what they call climate change. I want you to listen to me on this, folks. This is very important that you understand this. They are burning these people out of their homes They're burning these people out of their homes. They're burning these people off of their land because they're living in single-family homes on land. Okay, I want you to understand what I just said. They do not want you living in a single-family residence on your own land. Okay, that's the plan. They want you in a high-rise, high-density housing arrangement so they can control your water, they can control your electricity, they can control your food supply, they can control what you're vaccinated and injected with, what you eat, even the level of oxygen in the air you breathe. They want you in a hermetically sealed, high-tech kill grid. These areas that are burning are very similar to areas all over the state of California. As a matter of fact, the topography in these areas is almost the same from the border all the way up to San Francisco. The entire state of California is arid with chaparral and oak and sage and bottlebrush and tumbleweeds, and it burns if it's lit. But these people are being burned off their properties because the goal is not to have people live out where they have access to well water, where they can grow food, and they can be safe from the criminal gangs that are roving the streets of compact cities right now. They can be safe from the epidemics that are about to be unleashed on everybody. See, when people are spread out, they're harder to kill off, ladies and gentlemen. The government has all kinds of weapons, folks. All kinds of weapons. There are so many fires burning. It's ridiculous. Okay? And it's not some psychopath driving around in his 4x4 or her 4x4, you know, throwing Molotov cocktails out the windows. I believe these fires are being set intentionally in a very sophisticated fashion with the use of accelerants and ignition sources. That are electromagnetic or high-powered optical lasers, infrared technology perhaps. Look, folks, they've got these directed energy weapons that they can literally focus anywhere they want. They can run them off of airplanes, they can run them off of drones, and the really super high-powered ones, they can bounce off the top of the dome, folks, and they can have them come down anywhere. I mean, for all I know, these things could be these lasers could be beamed from Greenland down and triangulated down on Malibu, for all I know. But the goal behind the California fires is to burn people off their land and out of their homes, because land and homes are not sustainable. according to the controllers. They don't want you having a well. They don't want you being off the grid. They want you in the matrix so that the soldiers in Logan's Run can come get you when your number's up. They don't want you living out in the sticks with your dog and your tractor and your chickens and your windmill and your solar panels and your shotgun. They want you living in an apartment building with tinted windows and LED lights, hooked up to municipal water, getting your food delivered to you in the grocery store in a frozen food container, and the only way you'll be able to cook is with a microwave. You will not be able to have contact with the earth or the soil. You will not be able to ground. You will not be able to go barefoot anywhere. You will not be able to work the soil. You will not be able to cultivate food or fruits or vegetables. You will not be able to have fresh air and sunlight. It'll all be blocked out in the UV blocking windows, and the apartments will have windows that won't open. You'll have to use the heating and ventilation and air conditioning systems that have been installed in these places. And all these units will be installed. They'll have Wi-Fi and WiGig installed in them. And the reason I say this is so important is because it doesn't matter where you live in the United States. They're going to do this to where you're at too. You think you're safe in the mountains of Montana. They'll torch those too. They've done it before. They'll burn you out of there. That's right. And then they'll ban wood-burning stoves and wood-burning fireplaces, and they'll ban propane tanks because they keep exploding and blowing up and causing more fires. They will regulate everybody into the cities. That is, of course, unless we expose what they're doing. But that's exactly what they're doing right now, ladies and gentlemen. That's exactly what they're doing right now. They want you in a stack and pack. And I've talked to you all about the weaponry that's going to be in these high-tech homes. Smart technology, the WiGig, the 60 gigahertz millimeter wave systems that affect the oxygen molecules. Do you know what happens when you're inside an apartment where they control the temperature and they control the airflow, and they put in these millimeter waves communication systems that operate at 60 gigahertz, and it affects the oxygen molecules, valence electron spin properties, and your hemoglobin can't bind it, and you're in there under those blue and white lights, the LED lights, and you're eating microwave food, and your water's all contaminated with chloramine and bromine and fluoride and pharmaceutical agents from the sewer treatment plant's toilet to tap program. As you're drinking out of faucets that have polyvinyl chloride plumbing, leaching lead, involved organic compounds into your glass that you drink out of. I know it's late, folks. It's 11:30. It's a Monday night. I'm sitting in Southern California right now in Fullerton, and it's 75 degrees outside, and it's a beautiful night. The crickets are chirping. It's very warm, very slight breeze. I live in a pretty wind-protected area. That's why I chose this location, because the Santa Ana winds don't strip off all the blossoms off my fruit trees, and I'm able to grow food 12 months a year where I'm at in this wind shelter location. So even if the Santa Anas howl really bad, I'm kind of up in the hills where the winds kind of funnel down below the canyon, but they could hit this area too. There's plenty of stuff that'll burn in everybody's yard. And if they use lasers to take out a gas meter, or if they use the smart meters to ignite the gas lines, they can do it. And if they want to whip up a 70-mile-an-hour Santa Ana event in Orange County, they can do that tomorrow. They have the technology. Why don't you look at the radar images on the goes west, southwestern United States weather loop, and take a look at the anomaly that you'll see over the entire state. There's a massive cold front It's being blocked from approaching California by weather modification. And these cities are being systematically destroyed by these torches that are being lit by various devices. But the goal is to paralyze you with fear and to kill people, to get them to comply, and to get them to believe that it's not sustainable to live in these areas. It's not sustainable to live in areas where we have these native oaks and the chaparral, and we have water below the ground and soil that can support agriculture, and people can live in peace and harmony with their neighbors in these communities like they've done so for hundreds of years. But not anymore, folks. They want you thinking that at any given moment, at any given place in the state of California, it can spontaneously combust. And they're pretty right on the money about that, because given the technology that they have and their willingness to use it, it's all a possibility. The only place most people will end up feeling safe is in the big cities, in the big skyscrapers, in the big apartment buildings, because there's nothing to burn. There's no trees to burn. You see, ladies and gentlemen, the goal is to get everybody into these cities and put the 5G in, the millimeter wave systems. And the 5G systems are going to use microwaves and millimeter waves. They're going to use the worst of both worlds, folks. And there's going to be a 60 gigahertz component as well, a Y-gig system. They'll use that for short distance backhaul, point-to-point communications, as well as in-home Wi-Fi. That'll be the new Wi-Fi, is the Y-gig, and that's the one that affects the oxygen molecules, ladies and gentlemen. They want you in the kill grid where it's all controlled. They've declared war on the American people, folks. And, you know, they flood these places out in the rest of the country. They give you snowstorms and blizzards, and they give us droughts out here, and they burn us over here, and they'll flood you where you're at. And it's all about getting you off the land. They want you in the big cities. And even in the big cities, they'll run a few hurricanes through there because they can't get the 5G in fast enough. So they'll just run a hurricane through and destroy all the wire infrastructure, the copper infrastructure. And before you know it, 60 gigahertz pops up like mushrooms all over the place. That's what they've done in Florida and North Carolina. Stuff went in really fast after the hurricanes came through. They want the weaponry, and they want people concentrated in areas where they can be controlled and surveilled and euthanized. And they'll get you to do it to yourself because of the accoutrements that they're going to provide in these new electronic plantations. This is a very serious evening in Southern California, folks, because we've got two very, very unnatural things taking place right now. The spontaneous combustion of various geographical areas of the state of California. In other words, these fires are just literally starting out of thin air. And we've got a massive cold front parked off the coast, dropping its rain into the Pacific Ocean instead of onto the parched slopes and flatlands of the state of California. They're controlling the weather, and they're igniting the parched earth and the dying trees and the dry brush and the dead timber that lays scattered all over our national parks and forests, that has been neglected intentionally. They knew this day was coming. Everything, ladies and gentlemen, is according to plan. The Hunger Games is the model. That's why they're building a bullet train in California. They're building a bullet train because it's going to connect the mega regions. And these areas that they're burning up are going to be off limits because they're going to tell you, look, we can't have human activity in these areas because of the propensity for this very thing. They're going to blame these fires on human activity, and they're going to ban human activity in these areas. That's what they're up to, ladies and gentlemen. That's what they're up to. I'm going to keep this brief, but I just want you to understand that, there'll be more of these fires, folks, because they're not done freaking everybody out and killing people. This type of weather warfare and eco-terrorism is, it knows no limits. And you're not safe anywhere you live. Because let me tell you something. If you've got electrical power coming into your house and you got gas lines coming into your house, that's not a good combination if somebody really wants to screw you up. And with these smart meters that have been placed on the gas meters and these smart meters that have been placed on the electric meters, okay, we have, what do we have, folks? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Houston, we have ignition. And then Houston, we have a problem, right? Think about that for just a moment, folks. They've got ignition sources on your gas meter. You let them put that on there. I don't have a smart meter on my gas meter, folks. I don't have a smart meter on my electric meter. Why do you? Get your smart meters out of your house immediately. Contact your utility company tomorrow, every single one of you, and demand they take it off. Pay the extra fee. What's it worth to you? If everybody got rid of their smart meters, they wouldn't be able to push a button. Now, they may be able to come from above with some drone and well, guess what else you can do, folks? Water your yards and take care of your trees and keep your landscape alive. See what they did is they conned everybody into killing their yards and killing all their foliage and getting everything ready for this. You got to take care of your trees because your trees will block the millimeter waves from the 5G systems that are coming. You got to have trees around your property. Don't let them let you kill your trees. Don't kill your trees, folks. Deep soak your trees, water your trees. Take care of your vegetation around your house. You got to take care of those plants because when they put in the 60 gigahertz stuff, the air that is available is not going to be that easy for your body to absorb. You have good oxygen around your house. And you got to have plants inside your house too. Got to have house plants in your house. They produce oxygen. There's a lot of stuff to do, folks. You got to have foliage around your house. That protects you from a lot of things. It protects you from the broadcast television signals. Those are deadly as well. I mean, there's a lot of information, folks. I could go on for hours. I do every day. I think this is my third program today. And I just want you all to understand what's going on in California. It's a tragedy. People are dying. People's lives are being destroyed. The businesses are being destroyed. Their homes. People are losing their jobs. They're losing their homes. They're losing their lives, their pets, their horses, their cats, their dogs, their children, their schools, their churches. People are losing everything. We're next. Once we get the word out that we're not going to take it and that we're on to them. I'm telling you, you got to get these smart meters off of your gas mains. You got to get these smart meters off your electrical box. You cannot give these people remote control access to blow your house up. That's what you've done. And you look at the interstate highway system. You know, I want to tell you something, folks. Back in 1999, I was watching with a very keen eye what the government was doing with the infrastructure back then. And I watched along these interstate highways. They would put up these 4 and 5 foot concrete medians on the freeways. And I watched them. You know, anytime you put concrete together, you got rebar and tie wire in there. But they were running these really thick cables through these medians on the freeways. Very thick cables. They've energized the interstates, folks. There's power running through all of those medians, and those guardrails have the ability to be energized. So they can run current through things that you would least expect. So there's a very good possibility it could even be the guardrails igniting these fires in some of these areas. I mean, nothing is out of the realm of possibility, folks, because of all the things that they've built when we weren't looking. And before I sign off tonight, I've talked about this before, but I want you to look at the videos of the construction of the World Trade Centers back in the 60s. I want you to watch those videos very carefully as to how that place was built, the way it was built. And this has nothing to do with how those buildings came down. That's not what I'm getting at here. What I'm getting at is look at the mass amount of metal and the configuration of the beams and the aluminum and the metal and what went into the ground floor. What were those buildings? Were they just office buildings, or were they something else? Were they some sort of a Tesla technology? I mean, it was such an innovative design, and the exterior of those buildings had so much metal and steel that barely any sunlight came in through those windows. The thing it was like a gigantic antenna system. And on the North Tower, it had a humongous antenna on the roof. What I'm getting at, folks, is they have managed to install things on your home that you don't even understand what the true purpose of them is. You've just been told, oh, it's to save money. We don't have to send the meter reader out anymore. Since when do you put an electrical device connected to your gas main that can be remote controlled from somewhere? I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You're going to put an electrical device on your gas main. Really? You're going to put a computer on your electric meter that's hooked up to the transformer? I mean, I'm not going to do that. I don't want those guys getting into my house and igniting my stove if they want to. I mean, by the time we have the Internet of Things and we have all this interconnectivity, that smart meter can turn the stove on and blow the house up if they want to program. I mean, think about this, folks. The back doors are in everything. Did you know? All right, I might as well say this, all right? Did you know that the refrigerators now, they're using liquefied petroleum gas as the refrigerant now? Did you know that those refrigerators can blow up and burn your house down? That's right. If there's a surge, they're using, I believe, propane in these refrigerators now. Yeah, you got one of those in your house? Do you? You see what they've done, folks? They've put bombs in your kitchen. They've put bombs in front of your house. They've put bombs on the wall of your apartment building. That's right. See how it all works together? When I was at UCI, it was amazing. The time I spent at UCI, it was monumental because of the players I got to know. Sherry Rowland was in the atmospheric science department in the physical science building in the basement, and he was the one working on this so-called ozone hole with, I think his name was Francis Molina. During my tenure there, we had the AIDS virus, we had the ozone hole, we had the lasers, we had Chernobyl. You know, I was working I had classes in the nuclear reactor at UCI. I was down in the reactor running experiments with nuclear isotopes and you know, trying to figure out the parts per million concentration of metallic compounds in certain samples. I mean, we even had the professor at the time tell us about how he actually ran a test on the bullets they found in the Kennedy limo, and they didn't come out of Lee Harvey Oswald's gun, because they were able to take the bullet casings and irradiate them and do some spectrometry on the peaks they gave off, and compared that to the barrel of the gun, and the metallurgy wasn't the same. Those bullets didn't. The bullets will pick up metal as they're coming out of the barrel and carry it. Wasn't the same barrel of the gun, folks. So, I mean, I've been around the block, all right? I didn't just fall off the turnip truck, and I don't just come to you and spout nonsense. You know, there's a lot of heavy-duty stuff going on. This ozone scam, just another way to get rid of the inert gas, the R12, the chlorofluorocarbons. I'm not saying that they're great. I'm not saying we should be dumping these things all over the place, but they're a heck of a lot safer in my refrigerator than a propane tank. But they've put propane tanks in all the refrigerators now, folks. You have a bomb in your kitchen that can go off. And people have bombs on their property up in the mountains, and pretty soon you're not going to be able to live there and have these bombs. You watch and you mark my words, folks. They're going after every way of life that we take for granted. And these controllers want the roads closed off. I got people contacting me all the time. There's a wonderful couple that contacted me today. They're telling me how they're closing off all these roads. There's people are all over the country telling me all this stuff that's going on, and it's mind-boggling. But they're making it so you won't be able to get out. And it's just a matter of time where I won't be broadcasting from this location for much longer, because I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave Southern California. So I have to take my family. We have to go where it's safe. You think I'm going to stay here? I mean, really, you think I'm going to stay in the kill grid? No, I can't. I can't, ladies and gentlemen. This place is not what you think. I grew up here, okay? I used to ride my 10-speed down the river trail down to the beach. Can't do that anymore. Can't do that anymore, folks. It's not the same. And the plans they have for the people that remain here. I was at a restaurant last night, and you know, I was watching the people just lining up at the buffet, you know, clueless. They have no idea what's being done. They have no idea what's going on, and their level of consciousness is so low. It's tragic, because they're innocent people. They have no idea what's being done to them. They have no idea what's being done to their children. You can't reach them. Their only focus is for their children to get good grades, to go to college, to become a doctor or a lawyer, to be part of the system. That's in their mind. That's what they think the solution is. And they don't realize that those professions are part of the problem. They don't realize it. Agenda 21 calls for the rewilding of 99% of the United States and putting people into mega regions and walling off these regions and not allowing passage to outside these regions and getting us out of our cars and getting us onto public transportation. Does this sound familiar? This is the kind of stuff that we talk about all the time. I mean, this is like, I can't believe I'm sitting here at 11:40 on a Monday night kind of rehashing this stuff. But I have to tell you this stuff, folks. All this is connected. You know, none of this stuff is an accident. It's all scientifically crafted propaganda, and it is a tragic unfolding of events that's causing human life to be lost. And it's sad, you know. I can't stop these places from being lit on fire. I can't, folks. But I can stop my house from being lit on fire, and so can you. and your neighborhoods. And we must not let our right to travel be taken away from us, and our right to live in rural arrangements be taken away from us. And that's what's at stake right now. They want you off your land and out of your house into a compact city, high density stack and pack. That's the plan. Don't go for it, folks. And teach your children that's no way to live. This is Joe and Brianna. I want you to have a good night, folks, and thanks for tuning in. I know it's kind of late tonight, and I want to thank you for hearing me tonight. And I want to thank all the commenters out there. And let's just keep it real, folks. And let's stick with the facts. God bless.